Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling a really interesting intersection: commercial real estate and mergers and acquisitions.
CRE and M&A.
Now, you might be thinking real estate in a business deal. But trust us, if you're involved in, say, a growing company or thinking about merging or even just fascinated by how big business operates, well, understanding this connection can be a bit of a game changer.
Oh, definitely. It's about spotting opportunities others might miss and sidestepping some pretty significant headaches.
Exactly.
And we've pulled together a fascinating mix of information for this deep dive, everything from firsthand accounts, business owners who've navigated these waters,
Right.
to practical step-by-step guides and some really insightful analysis from experts on how a smart commercial real estate strategy can basically make or break an M&A deal.
And our mission, well, it's simple, really, to distill all of that down into the key knowledge and actionable insights you need. We want you to walk away understanding exactly why commercial real estate plays such a pivotal role when companies decide to join forces or acquire new entities.
Okay, let's get into it.
Okay, let's unpack this. Why is commercial real estate so crucial in the M&A world? It might seem obvious, but let's really dig into the core of it.
Well, think about it this way.
Yeah.
For most businesses, their physical space, whether they own the building or, lease, it represents a massive chunk of their ongoing costs.
Huge. Rent, mortgage payments.
Property taxes, the upkeep, it all adds up.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about combining two companies or bringing a new one into the fold, overlooking these real estate costs can lead to some serious financial surprises down the line.
Exactly. And one of the recurring themes we saw across our sources was just how vital it is to get your commercial real estate team involved right from the get-go in merger discussions.
Early on.
This isn't something you want to table until the ink is almost dry on the deal.
That's a critical point. Actually, one crucial insight we found is that companies that involve their CRE team before the letter of intent is even signed, they see an average of significantly more in potential cost savings compared to those who bring them in later.
Wow. Okay. So being proactive really pays off.
Massively. By having them at the table early, you can start identifying opportunities to consolidate spaces, maybe renegotiate leases. Perhaps one company has a much more favorable lease that could be leveraged for the combined entity.
That makes sense.
Plus, they can flag potential risks early on.
What kind of risks are we talking about here?
Well, things like really unfavorable lease terms that might be difficult or expensive to get out of. Potential environmental liabilities, too.
Okay. Like contamination?
Could be soil contamination on an old industrial site, maybe issues with asbestos in an older building, things like that, all of which can have pretty significant financial repercussions. Identifying these early allows you to factor them into the deal negotiations.
Right. So you know what you're getting into.
Exactly.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting, I thought. Our sources really hammered home the need to make data-driven decisions about the real estate. It's not about sentimentality for a particular office, is it? It's about looking at the numbers to determine which properties are truly essential for the newly combined company's operations and which might be surplus.
Absolutely. And by using that data and planning strategically, businesses can pinpoint properties that no longer align with their overall goals or are simply underperforming.
And that leads to?
Well, this opens up opportunities to sell those excess properties, which, as one of our sources highlighted, can actually inject a significant amount of capital back into the merged entity.
Like finding cash in the cushions, almost?
Kind of. A real unexpected win sometimes. For instance, tracking employee commute times after a merger to figure out the best place to consolidate offices. That's a key data point.
Okay. So what does this all boil down to for you, the listener? If you're navigating or even just watching a merger or acquisition, recognizing that early and data-informed CRE assessment provides a really powerful lens through which to understand a substantial part of the deal. It gives you a quick way to grasp a significant piece of the puzzle without feeling overwhelmed by the sheer complexity of the entire transaction. Because let's face it, real estate touches so many facets of a business.
Precisely. It offers a tangible and often substantial element to evaluate the potential benefits and the challenges of the deal.
Okay.
Now, let's maybe shift gears and talk about the practical side of things. Some of the guides we looked at laid out a kind of step-by-step approach, particularly relevant when the merger itself involves companies with significant real estate holdings.
Right. One guide we analyzed offered a really clear four-step plan. The first point was ensuring your company has the bandwidth to handle the growth that comes with a merger.
Seems basic but crucial.
Yeah, it sounds basic, but you need to have the underlying structure and resources to effectively integrate another entity. You don't want to stretch yourselves too thin.
Exactly. The second step focused on internal preparation, basically, getting your team ready.
Okay.
How so? This means clearly communicating the objectives of the merger and ensuring everyone is on the same page and, prepared for the changes. Setting those clear goals up front is absolutely crucial for a smooth integration, especially when physical locations might be shifting.
Uh-huh. Communication is key. And the third step was fascinating, I thought. It stressed the importance of focusing on the overall business synergy, not just the physical properties.
Yes, that's so
It's
important.
easy to get fixated on the buildings, right? But ultimately, the success of the merger hinges on how well the two businesses actually operate together as a cohesive whole.
That's a critical perspective. Focusing on business synergy means considering how the physical spaces can actually, facilitate better collaboration, improve workflow, or enhance the overall productivity of the merged entity.
So the space serves the business, not the other way around.
Exactly.
Huh.
Like, are the office layouts conducive to team interaction? Do the locations make logistical sense for the combined supply chain? The physical spaces need to support the overarching business strategy, not dictate it.
That makes total sense. And the fourth step in this practical plan was the importance of keeping the previous owner involved during the transition period. Why is that so key?
Well, because the previous owner has that intimate understanding of the properties, the quirks, the leases, all the little details that might not be obvious from just looking at a spreadsheet.
Right, the inside knowledge.
Yeah, their insights can be invaluable in ensuring a smoother handover and preventing a lot of potential problems down the line. It's about tapping into their institutional knowledge.
Absolutely. Their knowledge can be incredibly helpful in navigating those initial phases after the merger. So these steps offer some really actionable considerations if you find yourself involved in or even just observing a merger where real estate is a significant factor. Now, let's pivot slightly and talk about preparing for commercial real estate acquisition, which is obviously relevant in mergers that involve one company acquiring the property of another.
Okay, so if you're a business owner contemplating acquiring property, whether it's part of a larger merger or maybe as a standalone investment, what are some proactive measures you should be taking?
Lay it on us. What are the must-dos?
First and foremost, you need to have a crystal clear understanding of your business's needs and requirements for the property.
Okay, needs first.
Yeah. What kind of space do you need now? What will your needs be in 5, 10 years? What are your long-term growth projections? Having that clarity will help you target the right properties and avoid getting sidetracked by something that looks good on the surface but doesn't actually meet your operational requirements.
That's fundamental. It's easy to be wowed by a shiny new building, but if it doesn't have the loading docks you need or the right zoning,
Then it's ultimately a bad investment. Exactly.
the next crucial step then is assembling a strong professional team. Who should be on that team?
Oh, a really solid team is non-negotiable. This typically includes a good commercial banker to help with financing,
Hmm.
an experienced real estate lawyer to handle all the legal complexities and documentation, and a commercial real estate agent who really specializes in your industry and the specific location you're
All
targeting.
right, specialists.
These professionals bring specialized knowledge that, frankly, most business owners simply don't have.
Definitely. Trying to navigate these waters without that expertise is just asking for trouble. Okay, so you have your team assembled and you've identified some potential properties. What comes next? Our source material really emphasized the importance of thoroughly evaluating all the costs associated with the acquisition.
That's absolutely right. It's not just the sticker price of the property. You have to factor in the costs of due diligence, things like appraisals and inspections,
Okay.
any potential renovations or improvements that'll be necessary, ongoing operating expenses like maintenance and utilities, property taxes, insurance,
Hmm.
the whole 9 yards.
Wow, yeah, lots to consider.
A comprehensive cost analysis will give you a true picture of the financial impact of the acquisition, not just the upfront hit.
And of course, you can't just look at the numbers on paper. You need to actually see the property. Our guide stressed the importance of conducting a detailed inspection.
Kick the tires.
What are some key things business owners should be looking for during this inspection?
Well, a thorough inspection should really dig into the structural integrity of the building. Are there any foundation issues? What's the condition of the roof? You also need to assess the essential systems, like the HVAC heating, ventilation, air conditioning,
The big stuff.
the big expensive stuff, the plumbing, the electrical systems. Are they up to code? Are they nearing the end of their lifespan? And it's crucial to check for any potential environmental issues and ensure the property complies with all local building codes.
Sounds complex.
It often is. It's usually a smart move to bring in qualified professionals for these specialized inspections to uncover any hidden problems that might not be apparent to the untrained eye.
Good call.
Actually, one expert we looked at shared a story of a merger that nearly fell apart due to undisclosed environmental issues with a key property. It really underscores the importance of thorough due diligence.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to inherit a building with major structural problems or environmental headaches. Finally, our source highlighted the critical step of carefully reviewing all relevant documentation before you finalize the purchase.
The paperwork, always important.
What kind of documents are we talking about here?
This includes the purchase agreement itself, obviously,
Yeah.
the title documents to ensure clear ownership, any environmental reports that have been done,
Ah.
local zoning regulations, which are just the local rules about how a property can be used, like can it be a factory or an office or retail,
Gotcha. So,
and any existing leases or encumbrances on the property. Your legal team will be indispensable in meticulously reviewing these documents to make sure there are no red flags or potential future liabilities that could come back to bite you.
so dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
Pretty much. By taking all these proactive steps, you can significantly reduce the risk of unpleasant surprises and ensure that the property truly aligns with your long-term business objectives.
Okay, so we've covered why CRE is so important in M&A and some essential steps for acquiring property. Now, let's maybe zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture of how real estate strategy fits into the entire M&A process.
Right, the whole life cycle.
One of our sources, CBRE, outlined the key stages of real estate strategy specifically within M&A deals. This seems like a really structured and organized way to approach things, which I know our listeners appreciate.
It is. According to CBRE, the process typically kicks off with information gathering.
Makes sense. Start with the facts.
Exactly. This involves compiling a comprehensive inventory of all the real estate assets involved in the merger or acquisition. You need to know exactly what you have, the location of each property, its size, the terms of any leases, its current condition, the occupancy rates, all the relevant details. You simply can't make informed decisions without having a complete and accurate picture of the real estate portfolio first.
That makes perfect sense. You need to know what's in the toolbox before you can start building anything. What's the next stage in this structured approach?
The second stage is risk assessment. Once you have all that information, you need to dig into potential risks and hidden issues associated with the real estate.
Like we talked about before, leases, environmental stuff.
Precisely. This could involve identifying unfavorable lease terms that might be costly to break, any deferred maintenance that needs to be addressed, potential environmental concerns, or even conflicts with local zoning ordinances.
Okay.
Identifying these risks early on is crucial because it allows you to factor them into your negotiation strategy and your post-merger integration plans. So, if you were a business owner going through a merger, the key thing you should be looking out for during this risk assessment phase is any potential red flags that could have significant financial implications down the line.
Got it. Find the red flags early. Okay, so you know what you have and what the potential pitfalls are. The next logical step would be figuring out how to actually bring these real estate holdings together, right? That sounds like transition planning.
Exactly. Transition planning involves developing a detailed roadmap for relocating personnel and assets, if necessary, and for consolidating operations into the most efficient footprint.
Okay, the logistics.
Yeah. The main goal here is to minimize disruption to the ongoing business and ensure a smooth transition to the new organizational structure. This might involve making decisions about which locations to keep, which ones to consolidate or dispose of, and developing a clear timeline and process for any physical moves.
And finally, we reach the integration phase. What does that look like from a real estate strategy perspective?
Well, integration is really about making sure that the real estate holdings are seamlessly incorporated into the new, combined organizational structure, and that they effectively support the long-term strategic goals of the merged entity.
So making it all work together.
Right. This includes things like aligning lease management processes across both former companies, consolidating facilities management functions, and ensuring that the overall real estate portfolio is being utilized in the most strategic and cost-effective way possible.
That structured approach really highlights how crucial it is for business owners to stay organized and proactive throughout these major transitions,
Hmm.
which, as we've discussed, is so important for avoiding feeling overwhelmed.
Absolutely gives you a framework.
Okay, so bringing it all together for our listener, what are the really key takeaways and actionable insights you should be holding on to from all this?
Okay, number one, I'd say, the significance of early commercial real estate involvement in any merger or acquisition simply cannot be overstated.
Get in early.
Yes, this isn't a minor detail. It's a fundamental aspect that impacts the financial well-being and operational efficiency of the newly formed company. By bringing in your CRE experts early, you're not just ticking a box. You're proactively working to avoid potential financial disasters and uncover real opportunities to save money and create value.
Good point. What's next?
Secondly, whether you're directly acquiring commercial real estate or it's coming as part of a larger merger deal, thorough planning and meticulous due diligence are absolutely non-negotiable.
No cutting corners.
Definitely not. Really understand your business needs, build that strong team of experienced professionals around you, carefully evaluate all the associated costs, conduct those thorough inspections, and have your legal team meticulously review every single document. Skipping these steps is just asking for trouble down the road.
Okay, makes sense. And the third point?
And finally, don't forget the human element.
Ah, yes. People.
Mergers and acquisitions, especially those that involve changes to physical workspaces, can be really unsettling for employees. Clear and consistent communication, involving your teams in the process where it's appropriate, and thoughtfully considering the integration of different workplace cultures. These are all critical factors in ensuring a successful and smooth transition for everyone involved.
These are all incredibly valuable points, and they really underscore how having a solid understanding of the real estate implications in M&A can give you a real, well, a competitive edge.
Indeed. By grasping these key principles, you'll be much better prepared to navigate the complexities of mergers and acquisitions and significantly increase your chances of a positive outcome.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's a final thought for you to maybe ponder. Take a moment to reflect on your current business's real estate situation, even if a merger or acquisition isn't on your immediate horizon.
Good idea.
Are there any potential overlaps in your current property footprint? Maybe spaces that are underutilized and could be leveraged more effectively? Are there any lease agreements that might warrant a closer look to see if you could perhaps negotiate better terms? Sometimes, even outside the context of a major deal, just a strategic review of your real estate holdings can uncover opportunities for improvement and savings.
That's a fantastic point.
That's right.
This deep dive is really aimed to provide you with hopefully a shortcut to understanding a pretty complex subject.
Yeah.
And we sincerely hope it has maybe sparked your curiosity to delve even deeper into the fascinating world of commercial real estate in mergers and acquisitions.
Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive. We look forward to our next in-depth exploration with you.